Hello. I was just checking that the video was recording. Cards are pulled, and we're gonna get right into the reading because it is Mercury retrograde, and we are in Pisces season, and what that means in a nutshell is that we are going into a huge final opportunity for healing the things that we've missed out on healing. There are things in our psyche that we are subconsciously holding on to, and these are going to be unearthed, revealed, moon-baked, and released. So, what could be more appropriate than our Spirit Animal Oracle card this week? Snake Spirit. Number 55. Time to heal. And when you think about snakes, we generally think of them with trepidation and fear and apprehension and discomfort and maybe even a shiver. But snakes are regenerative. They shed their skins, they rebound from injury very, very quickly. And I want to say that any creature that has the ability to harm has the ability to heal. The Oracle message. All of us need healing at times, and when Snake Spirit appears, it is time to repair, renew, and replenish yourself and your vulnerable heart. Self-care and maintenance work are needed so that your vitality can arise. Give yourself the space to nourish your own well-being. Vulnerability is necessary for friendships and partnerships to work, which means all of us will have tender emotions at times. Be gentle with yourself and others now. Shed the past and step into a new way of being, for vitality is rising in you. This might be a good time to honor the work you have done to heal, grow, and repair any damage within you, within those you care about, and within your community. Celebrate together how far all of you have come in your healing journey and all that you have created. Unburden yourself of anything that no longer supports wellness, prosperity, positive relationships, and well-being, and open the door for healing to occur. No matter how much you may have lost or how you have been disappointed, you are called by Snake Spirit to shed the past and practice radical self-acceptance now. Only by forgiving yourself can you move on, regardless of whether anyone else is ready for healing. When your tender new skin first becomes exposed, you may feel uncomfortable. Love yourself and remain vulnerable anyway. You have been weak, but now you are becoming strong and developing wisdom, and you will do better in the future. Snake Spirit reminds you that hearts can be so easily wounded. Apologies and amends go a long way. Self-forgiveness for your role in what happened can help you heal. Remember, it is the one who has been wounded who often has the greatest power to heal others, to help others heal. What the fuck is wrong with me that I can't read? I'll repeat that last line. Remember, it is the one who has been wounded who often has the greatest power to help others heal. Maybe I couldn't spit that out because it's what I said in the fucking first place of my own accord. Forgive me. I am easily riled up these days. And I have some healing of my own to do. Some releasing of narratives that are very limiting. That keep me attached to people and things that are no longer relevant to my life at all, but that I still define myself by. How much of that is the case in your life? And for that matter, if it's not the case, then ask yourself why it's not the case. Because the chances are that it's because you just don't do any of the work on yourself. You have exonerated yourself from self-analysis. And that's on you, because it's your life journey, and that's what you're here to do. So the longer you put it off, the less successful your life journey will have been in this incarnation. And if you don't do it at all, that's fine. But you'll have twice as much work to do next time around. We have to live in self-awareness. We cannot disconnect ourselves from our journey. Every part of what we have experienced in our life is a part of who we are. And we have to learn to wear that without shame. Even when we have been conditioned to feel deep, 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 dark shame. Shame about our bodies, shame about our sexuality, shame about our sex, our gender, how we define ourselves as individuals, how masculine or feminine we are, how open we are to understanding that we can't carry the burden of responsibility for others when they are not willing to do the work on themselves. And if you can't give yourself that permission, then let this be a moment for me to give you that permission to release yourself from those soul contracts. It's really hard to do when you're attached to dark forces in your narrative. Asshole fathers, asshole abusers, asshole rapists, asshole gaslighters, asshole narcissists. They get to exist separately from you. That you cannot do anything about. But what you can do is take the space back to be fully in your own embodiment of life. And the only way to do that is just to let yourself be free, to be exactly who you are, and stop making yourself small, and stop making yourself fit into places that you do not fit. And I don't care how much you think that you don't do that, you do, because everybody is still doing that in some part of their life. And that is not something to feel ashamed of, but it's something to take ownership of. And this Pisces season is going to be all about letting go of that. Now, I'm not so sure that that was a pep talk as much as it was a rally. And for some, it may have felt like an indictment. But however it was taken, that is what the trigger is for you, that is needed in order to move forward into a new narrative. A narrative of truth. Your truth. So, let's get into these cards. Now that we've established that we're going to be doing healing, our underlying message of the week, the 10 of Cups, clarified by the Page of Pentacles. So, the good news is that there's some fulfillment on the horizon for us, and the underlying energy of whatever we're going to be going through in the week, 2 weeks ahead, is about attaining that sense of the fullness of the spectrum of joy in life, love, faith, and the desire for to honor choice, the desire to honor choice. Because we have a lot of choices that we don't honor. Because it's easier for us very often to stay small in our corners that we've grown accustomed to. So, that Page of Pentacles is telling us that it's in the new, small opportunities that arise that we gain access to the full rainbow spectrum of emotions, fulfilling emotions, positive emotions, released from all of the darkness, because at the end of the day, every dark emotion that a person feels is, in fact, situational. It is the core is never bad. The core is never uncomfortable. The core is never wrong. But what we do with it, because of our emotional turmoil and all the fucked up shit that we have internalized because of other fucked up people imposing that upon us and teaching us that that is the right way to feel, to internalize shame. That's going away. And how do we get there? Well, in our present energy, we have the Knight of Wands. So this is fast-moving energy, and it's playful, and it's flirtatious, and it's free, and it is the energy of a childlike spirit carried within, that we all have. And what crossed us is the devil. So basically, what gets in the way of us attaining this, which is our key to our present energies, is our addictions, our attachments to negative narratives, to shame, to making ourselves small, to attaching ourselves to negative outcomes, to feeling enslaved to patterns. So that is getting in our way, and it's gonna get in our way until we tell it to get the fuck out of our way. And how does that happen? Not indulging in your dirty, nasty habits that are not serving you well. There is the High Priestess, giving us all those answers, all that power. In perfect balance of understanding the importance of the subconscious and the conscious existing as one. And we talk about it every week. Somehow it comes up, and yet we're still struggling with it. And it's because we let our shame get in our way. We don't believe in our own power. We don't believe that we deserve the things that we really want. We don't even know what we really want, because we don't give ourselves permission to know, to discover. In our past, we have this fucker, the Nine of Swords, clarified by a reverse Five of Swords. So, what is the root of this shame? Well, all that anguish and fear stems from guilt. This Five of Swords reversed is telling us that in the past we have come to an understanding of how much we are limited by our sense of guilt. And the irony is that guilt is a self-fulfilling prophecy because of the fact that we don't know the root of guilt. Because very often, when we've been gaslit in our lives, and when we have been abused, traumatized, taught to feel ashamed of ourselves, we feel guilt about things that we are not responsible for. And that in turn feeds anger, frustration, and the need for the devil, the codependency, the addictions, the false narratives that are stories of convenience that keep us stuck in our small, stupid traps. Our underlying energy, the Hierophant. This is a cycle. We go from the worry and the guilt and the shame into a feeling of needing to conform to ritual, to tradition, to the narrow confine of where we think divinity exists outside of ourselves. And that's what keeps us small. And it's clarified by, you can't see it because of the glare, apologies, the moon. And this is the card of mental strife. It is intuition and the moon, but in a negative context, as this certainly tends to be. We think of the moon, and what derivative of the moon do we have? Lunacy. It's depression, it's anxiety, it is nervousness, it is angst. It's this becoming, well, it's not a depiction in this that you can possibly see, but it's this faltering between this and the moon. And even if you can't really understand the symbology of what's on this card, it's sort of, if you notice, the moon is between the two towers, and we know what the tower card represents. But it also means the opportunity to discover the meaning and the root in order to flush that away. And how does that manifest in our future? Death. Death as a release from it. Death as renewal. Death as birth. If it's any other kind of death, don't worry about it. You won't be around to know. And what was that clarified by? The devil, interestingly enough. So, what's the death card and the devil trying to tell us? If we've already had the devil as our central energy. It's trying to tell us that that's what's dying. Codependency, guilt, shame. That's what the Pisces Mercury retrograde and the Pisces season in general is offering us. And what crowns us is the reward of the Six of Cups, which is the adult self and the inner child coming into communion. And it was clarified by the Strength card, Fortitude in this deck. And so, because Strength is the lion tamed by the spiritual, divine energy that we carry within ourselves, it's the idea of us being able to finally tame the parts of ourselves that have been out of control and that have kept us out of balance with our experience, our opportunities to experience humanity fully. Now, what represents our situation in the present right now is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups can be very overwhelming it can be such that we have a plethora of options that we're unaware of because we're so focused on one of these cups. And we're afraid to choose the wrong one. So we try to focus on all of them. But some of those cups have dragons and snakes in, and others have treasures and victory wreaths. And towers. And what is causing us to feel this? The Nine of Wands. We're weary and we are feeling disenfranchised by the opportunities that are presenting themselves to us. Rather than seeing every challenge as an opportunity, we are falling into that energy of feeling overwhelmed and wanting to go retreat from the experience. Which is not in alignment with the rest of the energies, so that weariness of the Nine of Wands is only going to feel more compelling the more we resist letting go of the Devil energy and focusing on the High Priestess energy and allowing that birth by a death and that communion of the adult self and the inner child to fully embody who we are becoming. Victorious, proud, capable of loving ourselves, no matter what. Knowing that anybody who would make you feel bad for the way that your body is, or the way that you talk, or the way that you do something, or don't do something, that person is a little fucktard. And they haven't done any of the work on themselves to be focused on making another person feel bad. So if you're still living out that experience that was probably it's just a trigger from like you having experienced that when your pain body wasn't developed, when you hadn't developed the defense mechanism for your pain body as a child, those first traumas, those first times in our lives that somebody puts us down, makes us feel not good enough, makes us feel unlovable, tells us we're fat, tells us we are in my case, all of those things, I can still remember moments of what felt like great humiliation to me because my heart told me that I could expect one response from a person, many people, unfortunately. And those people didn't give that response. They weren't able to be selfless and loving and kind and nurturing. And very often, in the case of adults, shamelessly self-focused, which is experienced by a child in great pain. And that internalization of that pain then manifests as the pain body throughout the person's life, and they get triggered a lot. And then you get triggered so much, you have a few dark nights of the soul, you have a tower moment, or 10, or 50, or 100, and you realize after a while that you just keep getting back up, and that's what you're capable of doing. No matter what. Because what somebody did to you when you were a child is irrelevant today. Not to your heart. You deserve the space and the time to work through your shit. To own it and do whatever the fuck you want with it. But nobody else gets to tell you when you're ready. Or when you should be done with something. When you should be over something. Nobody else. But you do need to work on getting there so that you can give yourself the space to know real love. Real love of yourself. In our environments, we have the Queen of Wands, and she is there. She's the leonine energy. She's that self-confidence, that ability to be kind as a result of knowing her own worth. Ain't nobody else gonna tell her what she should think about herself, and so she's able to love everybody else accordingly. And it's clarified by the sun. So it's double Leo energy there. So because it's in our environment, it indicates that we are going to be having opportunities to shine, to be this new version of ourselves, to be the embodiment of this energy of self-love. And it may be that you are going to also want to prove that to the outside world. And there's nothing wrong with that. But remember that being in loving kindness to others is the best revenge. And when you really can't be in loving kindness towards somebody in your life, then it's time to cut the cord. But that's usually just because that ship has sailed and it's not worth your time anymore. Anyway, in our hopes and fears, we have the Chariot. So it was clarified by the Three of Wands. So this seems to be indicating that we are expecting other people and other situations around us to resolve the entire spiel that I have just given. It makes sense. And sometimes when you've got 10 of Cups as your underlying energy, and then you have the Queen of Wands in the embodiment of how that's manifesting in the outside world along with the sun, that makes sense that you are looking outside of you for the embodiment of that happiness and satisfaction. But we have to remember that while the Chariot indicates movement, stepping out into the world on a journey of importance, it is also the embodiment of the inner journey of that process of balancing the conscious and subconscious mind. So all I can say is stick to the High Priestess energy. Do the spiritual grounding work. And all of this will fall in place for you. The energies are aligned to do so, to help you with that. Call upon whoever and whatever you need energetically to guide you. All you have to do is close your eyes and focus on your breath, calming your nervous system, and the answers will come to you. And that is the Three of Wands. That is waiting for that to come to you. And that's okay if you're doing the work of the conscious and subconscious mind flow. That's what that means. So you're okay to hope for that, because it is what's going to happen if you follow it through. And in turn, as a result of doing that work, what we get as our outcome is the King of Swords. That is the person who is in total ownership of their ideas, their philosophy. They are ready to go out into the world, empowered, no longer in disalignment. And this was clarified by two cards. The Queen of Wands again, so we get that repeat of the Queen of Wands energy there. That self-confident, I can love infinitely because I am this. And also clarified by the Ace of Swords, which is the very sword that the king carries. So this is the manifestation card. This is saying that in being in this yin-yang energy of King of Swords, Queen of Wands, the manifestation shows. So, heal yourself. Take a lot of time this week to do that work. It doesn't take long. All you need is 10 to 15 to 20 minutes a day, longer if you can. But 10 minutes is enough to quieten your mind alone. Yes, you can step away from your telephone, from your partner, from whoever the fuck else, distracts you. Yourself, most probably. And just let go. Let yourself feel good through your breath. Release. Stop planning. Stop trying to control. Stop. Just stop. And do what you only can do, which is breathe. Focus on your breath. Every day, do that. Lie on your back. Put your legs up against the wall if you'd like. It's very good for you. Or when you're lying in bed. Do it. Every day. For the next 7 days. And then in that time, set your intention to befriend your inner child and to be the nurturing adult that your inner child would want to have. Maybe the inner child never got, but that is who you are now. You know by what you did not get what you need, what that inner child needs. And having that conversation with that little broken inner child version of yourself will in turn allow you to find a type of peace that you probably have no idea can exist inside of you. So, on that note, I feel like I've been very preachy this week, but it wasn't really my intention. I had no idea what I was going to be talking about, but seeing as the emphasis is on healing, and seeing as I am really tired of being triggered through my own shame, my own fear of failure because of the association that failure has in my life and in my mind with shame. I'm just gonna be me. And whether that means other people are interested in that or not, I don't care. This is it. This is all I can be right now, and it's good enough. And I hope that means something to you too, because that's basically just me giving you a message for yourselves. So, I send you lots of love, and I wish you a fantastic week. May it be productive and insightful and liberating. Be kind to yourself.